Holy shit! What's up, Flunky Force? It's Game Flunky here, and I cannot believe what I'm playing. Early access opened up for the alpha version of Divinity Original Sin 2. Man, I'm fucking pumped. Like, I'm talking Super Saiyan 4. Kamehameha timestamp? Anyway, like, you guys just don't understand what this is. Like, let me tell you something. This game right here, this shit right here, sound like Cat Williams. This shit right here is the bomb. Okay, I don't even know why. There shouldn't even be a discussion about why you should play this game. But I will do you a favor. All right, the first one, Divinity Original Sin, the first one, kicked some fucking ass. Got tons of accolades, tons of rewards. It's an RTS, RPG, tactical, fantasy-like game. Developed and published by Larian Studios. These guys are friggin' geniuses. They're what sets the benchmark for being an indie company and know what the hell they are doing. The game is beautiful. The storyline in the first one, the game was beautiful in the first one. The storyline was beautiful. Everything just melded well together. Wasn't that big of a game. That's the only drawback. But the mindset of the tactical way you could fight, the NPCs, the interactions of your decisions that can impact your world in a plethora of different ways that you probably never knew you could do, and the fact that the way you build your character could affect the way your playstyle could have been. Alright, so what I'm going to do today, over the course of the week in between different videos, is that I'm going to give you pieces of this early access to show you what you can do. And this first episode is the character creation alone is what we're going to hit on. So without further ado, let's kick some ass. So, again, it's single player, multiplayer, whatever, what have you. I'm just going to go Explorer mode. Alright, and we'll get into this. Alright. Divinity Original Sin 2. Alright, so one of the key differences from the first and to the second is that in the first one, the only race that you can play as is human. Now, one thing you should keep in mind, though, if you notice, you have these characters with their own names. Well, those characters with names, they don't have the word custom, have their own origin stories and stuff like that, which really, from what they were saying, was when the release of the game, your origin story can have a greater impact on the world. So if you pick a pre-built character, how the world perceives you and interacts with you is dependent on that origin story. Also, your race, I think your race alone actually also affects people. So, like, for instance, in the beginning of the game, which we'll show in the next couple videos, there was like a lizard, the red lizard, or the blue lizard actually. Hold on, I'll show you. The red lizard, they were treated differently, or because they are who they are, people are racist against them, they're fearful of humans, things of that nature. So your race actually has a greater impact too in the world. But getting to the races, there are elf, human, lizard, dwarf, and yeah, she's sexy. I date her. That's my wife right there. That's my wife. I name her cute little munchkies. Anyway, so basically, there are 4 distinct races, which was different than the first. Another thing is, because there are 4 distinct races, they have also had passive abilities to each of these races, or special powers. For the dwarves, there's Metamorph. It it turns a nearby target into stone, incapacitating them. Though, by doing that, you remove bleeding, burning, poison, crippled, and increased physical armor, because they're made of stone. They cannot move, but they're pretty much petrification. That's what it is. And then you have to go through an armor check, which we'll get into that in a second. Or we'll get into that, actually, when I show you how combat works. Alright, so their passives are, for dwarves, and male and female, you can be for every race, can be male and female. Nothing changes, I don't think, between the two of them. No, it's the same. Alright, so for dwarves, sturdy. Sturdy boosts strength by 2. Dwarven Guile gives you +1 in sneaking. Alright, so next up is elves. Their special is Flesh Sacrifice. Receive 1 action point and 25% damage boost at the cost of 1 Constitution. Alright. Their passives are passive talents, excuse me. Elegant Gifts gives you +2 bonus in finesse, and Corpse Eater. Corpse Eater, and I like this ability, lets you eat body parts to access the memories of the dead. I can't wait to try that out, because I think I have every race pre-made already in classes and stuff like that. So, all right, humans. Their special ability is encourage allies around you, increasing their primary attributes. Ingenious. Ingenious rewards you with +2 wits and 3% critical chance. Human Resolve. Human Resolve adds 1+ to leadership. Alright, cool. Lizard. Oh, I like this one. Dragon's Blaze. Special ability. Breathe flames in a cone, dealing 11 to 12 fire damage to all non-allied characters and leaving fire clouds behind. Now, fire clouds is like when you breathe, when the fire damage is put on the ground, you leave these clouds made of fire, and I think you can ignite them with fire arrows, fire spells, so you can continue the attack later on. I think that's what you did in the first one, so. Alright, so his passive talents are Sophisticated, increases your intelligence by +2. Spell Song, you get +1 persuasion from Spell Song. So that's cool. Alrighty then, so we'll go with, alright, so that was pretty much it. Now, we'll go over here to classes. Alright, so we'll start with the Wizard. Now, here's something a little bit, this is where it gets kind of like, very complicated, the way the game's built. Okay, so, before we get into class systems, you gotta kind of understand a couple of things. Unless you know what you're doing, or unless you have an idea, a sound idea, and you've looked up the research, and you've seen how your character can interact, your character's class is gonna work, follow the meta that's already been pre-built for you. Follow the step, like, follow what they've had, their design. Because once you calculate skills and points, once you hit accept, they're permanent. You cannot take them back unless you make a whole new character. So that's something you need to keep in mind as you're playing, is that make sure you can, when you commit to it, it's what you want. Because if not, you're stuck with it and you could end up breaking your build. So I just want to give that as a for instance, you guys, just be careful. Alright, so there's Wizard, Battle Mage, Cleric, Enchanter, Fighter, Inquisitor, Knight, Ranger, Rogue, Shadowblade, Wayfarer, Witch, and Wizard. Okay, cool. Alright, so let's go for the Wizard first. A Wizard is a scholar of magic specialized in starting and ending battles with a flick of the wrist, exacting swift victory from a safe distance. Okay. So over here, they'll tell you basically before you hit customize, and you can change the look of everything. I'm not gonna get into this. It's typical. You can do it for each creature. I know elves and lizards, I don't think they have any facial feature stuff. But anyway, but that's typical stuff. But what really matters is over here. Now, right here is your attributes. These are the primary attributes for your class. Okay. Intelligence. Intelligence determines your accuracy with intelligence-based weapons and improves the damage of elemental, necromancy, and summoning spells. Alright, elemental spells are these. Aerothergy, Hydrophysicist, and Pyrotechnic. Alright, keep those in mind. Constitution determines how much vitality you have, which is your health points. Your abilities are Pyrotechnic, Hydrophysicist, Aerothergy, and Lore Master. Now, the only one out of these three that actually varies from the rest is this one. Okay? Hydrophysicist increases all healing and magic armor restoration that you cause. Healing increased by 1%, 3% the total amount. So basically, this is your healing. All right, they do. In the first one, they were healing, but and they're also like field changers. For instance, I had I can't remember his name, but he would summon a giant lightning storm, and it would just litter the ground with water puddles, and it made everybody wet. And what that effect does is increases the chance to be struck by lightning when you use your electric spells. And it causes them to be stunned by the electricity, or freeze them if they're hit by a frozen spell, which increases that chance of it happening. And also it litters the ground with water puddles, so that even further increases it, because now you're stuck on, if you walk on that water puddle and it's lit with electricity or ice, you either get stunned or you can fall down, get knocked down, and you get tons of more damage done to you if you're knocked down. Like in real life, you have no way to defend yourself. Alright, Lore Master identifies enemies and allows you to identify items. The higher the more you can identify, and faster it goes. So it's like, I think, like Torchlight, things like that. Instead of going to get them identified or dropping them, they just tell you what it is. You have to identify them with like this hourglass item, which the higher level is, the higher the items you can identify without paying all that crazy money. Okay. So real quick, we're going to discuss a couple things. Alright, staying away from your primary talents, your primary abilities, which is these right here, intelligence and constitution. We're going to stick to what the class needs, okay? So, when you want to use skills or abilities, or stronger skills and abilities, I'm sorry, you have to get skill books. The higher the level of skill books, the higher level your skill needs to be. So if you got to get a skill book and it requires you to have a skill level, an Aerothergy at 3, you have to increase this rank to 3. Because a skill in a skill book, even though you read it, will not unlock to you until you meet the requirement, okay? Now, for everyone, beginners and experts, never put a whole bunch of skills in every one thing, because remember, it's permanent. I don't think the level cap's going to be that large, so you really don't have a luxury of putting points in every single thing. So that's what I was saying. Even for experts, we kind of, like, I played a lot, so I kind of stick to the meta they give you, because once you commit, you're kind of screwed. But if you don't like it, you just take points out and put it somewhere else. Like, if I wanted to take all these out, I can put them anywhere I want. But be very careful that when you do that, you can mess yourself up if you don't know what you're doing, okay? Alright, so basically these are Arrow 30 increases all damage you deal to mage armor. Geomancer increases all physical armor restoration and poison damage that you cause. Huntsman increases ground advantage bonuses and decreases low ground penalties. Hydrophysicist is a healing one. Necromancer heals you every time you deal damage to vitality. Pyrotechnic increases all fire damage you deal. Scoundrel increases movement speed and boosts your critical modifier. And Warfare increases all damage you deal to physical armor. Okay, now those are what they do, but like I said before, those are what they do to your abilities. They also, the higher they are, they allow you access to higher level skills, okay? Okay, so back up to here. I know I went down and skipped all this, but back up here, dual wielding. Dual wielding increases your damage and critical chance with dual wielding and one-handed weapons. Ranged increases damage and actually with bows and crossbows, which is really neat. Real quick, the bows and crossbow thing used to be two separate skill trees by themselves, but they combined it into one, which I'm glad they did that because it was kind of annoying. Single-handed increases damage with one-handed weapons, dagger, sword, axe, mace, or wand, with a shield or empty offhand. It also increases the accuracy too. Two-handed increases damage and critical multiplier with a two-handed melee weapon, sword, axe, mace, spear, or staff. Okay. Not self-explanatory. Alright, so this is where it gets kind of cool. This is where like the dice over the roll kind of combat system comes into play. Magical armor and physical armor are pretty much like this. If someone hits you with a fire spell, it's going to go through a magical check. Two things are going to happen. One, the higher the magical armor you have, the higher your defense against magic spells. Two, when the fire spell hits you, it's a chance to burn you. When you go through the check against the magical armor, the burn effect may not apply because you have a high enough magical armor. The same thing can be applied to physical armor. If you get hit with a physical attack or abilities that fall within the physical spectrum, if your physical armor is high enough, it'll either negate the physical check, which is like I think like poisons and traps or something like that, or it'll reduce the damage done to you. And vitality is obviously your health. Okay, if you're playing your mages and stuff, because my character is always mained, I always like pick this beefy class like a knight or a fighter or whatever. But if you want to make like a necromancer with vitality and physical armor, I mean, that could be a walking nightmare because that'd be pretty badass. All right. Another thing too about, and I'm not, this is a combat thing I'm gonna get into later, but we'll talk about these abilities and skills and stuff like that. That's for another time. Okay, there's a lot of these, so I'm not really gonna talk about them too much. But pretty much what these are is like if you ever play Fallout or anything made by Bethesda, Fallout or Oblivion, Skyrim, whatever, you'll have these passive talents. All right, remember how I told you before? Each race has their own passive talents. Okay, well they actually level up, you get more passive talents. Now, they're going to have a multitude of different effects, but they're either going to be retroactive, or they're going to be permanent, or they change your build somehow. For instance, All Skilled Up gives you 1 point of combat ability and 1 point of civil ability. Alright? Arrow Recovery lets you pick up an extra combat ability. What? Arrow Recovery gives you 30% chance to recover a special arrow after shooting it. Again, it's another combat thing, but you can have special arrows like fire, poison, lightning, ice, stun, different things like that. This lets you increase the chance of you picking up that arrow after you've fired it. Backstabber, and like this gives you a backstab with daggers and knives, and so on and so forth. They got some really cool ones like like this one, leech heals you when standing in blood. That's great for like a necromancer build, or any build actually. Like Morning Person, when resurrected, you resurrect to full health. Oh, this one, Pet Pal, enables you to talk to animals, so really cool. Okay, so like I said, this is the wizard. I think, was it the wizard or witch? I can't remember. What am I looking at here? I'll go back. But like I said, keep to your meta. Don't try to vary too much. Alright. Next up is personality. Bartering determines your haggling, you know, how much you pay to your items and stuff and how much you can sell items for. Leadership will boost party members and friends that can see you. So basically, when you're in a group fighting, you can increase their stats. First one increases accuracy and dodging. You get 1 from Human Resolve because of your talent. Lucky Charm increases your likelihood of finding extra treasure wherever loot is stashed. That's cool too. And then Persuasion obviously increases your score with people when you're trying to persuade them in the dialogue. Alright, telekinesis is actually cool too. Telekinesis lets you pick up items and move them to where you want them to be. The telekinesis determines the range and weight of items you can move telepathically, and then sneaking allows you to sneak around without getting caught. It thievery improves your lockpicking and pickpocketing skills. Okay, so I picked one class, and I know I focused. I wanted to pretty much get everything out that would be very of importance to you. The next video I'll do, it'll be based on each of the different classes. Alright, but this is pretty much a brief synopsis of what each class is. Overall, basically what they are about, and how intricate and abled you are to customize them to the way you see fit. Alright guys, this is a video for Divinity Original Sin 2. I'll definitely have more on the way. I'll have another one I'll work on tonight with another class, which we'll be talking about each class individually over time. Alright, I just want to give you guys a broad spectrum look at what each class is capable of becoming if you want to customize it however you want. If you enjoyed the video, please hit that like button. If you'd like to see more, please hit the subscribe button because I'm fucking pumped. I love this game. Alright guys, I love you. You all have a nice day-ish. Bye. Hype train over 9,000! I mean, subscribe. Like and subscribe. Yeah. So excited, I just can't hide it. Na 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 na. Ba da ba 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 ba. See you next time, guys.